the same that I can share with you. We can share, we can discuss together as we learn from each other, if you allow me. Can I go ahead and share?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Proceed.
So this is a PowerPoint presentation on mental skills. That is acquiring the winning edge. So rather the subject or the style of delivering this would be to understand our mind and body connection, the three parts of a human being, how our mind works, and of course to understand this we'll have to study an iceberg model. And then the second part of it is mental skills training. We'll go and look into the types of the skills, the skill training that we need, of course, to understand what is mental skills training and why do we have to do it, and the different categories, and the types of the training that we need. And of course, last but not least, some of the exercises in regards to managing our emotions, building confidence, motivation, and goal setting and achievement. If I'm moving so fast, just let me know. So to understand the three parts of a human being, everybody as a human being, has three parts in him. One is your body, which is the vessel that carries your soul, and your soul carries your spirit. So for you to be a complete human being, you must be in coherence. The three must be in coherence. The three must be in tandem, in alignment, for you to be able to function well as a human being. So if I can briefly explain what your body is, as indicated down there, it's your external part of your outer organ that possesses the consciousness. That is the part that is in contact with the material world, your five senses. Yeah, you are hearing, you are smelling, you are feeling, your touch. Yeah. So that is the vessel that carries your soul, which in turn carries your spirit. So your soul is the medium between our spirit and our body. There's always an interaction or a conversation between the spirit and the body. The soul is always trying to arbitrate between the spirit and the body, what the body wants, and probably sometimes the spirit does not want. So it's the soul to regulate this. So the spirit, the soul is what makes our personality. It receives things from our soul, and then in the psychological realm, and then now interprets it to the body. And if I have to talk about the spirit, of course, the explanation is there, that it's the deepest part of a person. And this means the innermost part, where we can contact God in the spiritual realm. No any other creature created by God has this part. So a bit of some Bible quote that the Bible tells us in Thessalonians 5:2-3 that we are all created with three parts: the spirit, the soul, and the body. So it's not just my imagination, it's something that is in the Bible. And the God of peace himself sanctify you wholly, and may your spirit and soul and body be preserved complete without blame, for you to be a complete human being. So as a coach or as a human being, you need to understand the three aspects of the human, that your spirit is your connection with God, your soul is your consciousness, and your body is the outer vessel that carries the soul. I believe I'm clear up to that far. So some facts about you. in terms of the spirit, soul, and body. So as I mentioned before, the spirit is your deepest part as a person. That's where you connect with your God. That's where your spirit is. And then the soul is now your personality. What makes your personality? Your beliefs, your upbringing, whatever you read, how you handle your emotions, how you interpret the world around you. That's what makes your personality. And then, of course, as we had said, the body is the visible external part of you. So like in sports, we have your body playing, and we have your soul, which makes your personality, how you conduct your movements, how you think in the field, and then your spirit, how you connect with your God. Whether some people do pray in the field, some do not pray, some have certain words that they say to themselves to motivate them. Yeah. So just moving a little bit down to see how this is arranged or how this works, is that the outer body, the outer part, which is your body, get information, ideas, the thoughts, the vibration and energy. Vibration and energy could be either positive or negative, the feelings and the emotions, and the mental imagery that you make out of the information that you get from the environment. Then now deep, if you go deep, which is now your subconscious, where you perceive how you view the world, your self-beliefs, the accepted assumptions, attitudes, and expectations. That is your self-concept, your image, your ideal self, how you talk to yourself, yeah? Your esteem, your behavior or habits. How your mental, how you've programmed your mind, or how your mindset is automated. And of course, I talked about how this personality is built. Mostly, it's upbringing, the people you sit around, your beliefs, what you believe to be true. Some revolves around culture. So the circle shows us how our body interacts with the physical world, then what we make out of whatever information that we've gotten from whatever we've gotten from the environment. And then that now dictates what action we will take, because you first think, and then you process, and then now you act. Then whatever action that you take could either be negative or positive, which forms your reality, because your actions are what you believe in. Your actions are your reality, what you think is right at any given situation. So everything begins with a thought, and whatever we think determines what action we're going to take, and that forms our reality, and that reality leads us to a destination. That destination could either be good or bad, depending on the situation. And of course, that's what determines our legacy. So what makes a difference in people is how they think. And that thinking is what makes the difference in terms of our participation in sport or even in life. So, and that's the reason why we are having this session. So I'd talked about the iceberg concept model. As you can see from your left, there's a current system, the current reality. You are having or experiencing results now as a person. And for you to, you see the events, for you to understand what is going on now, or rather the events that are taking place, you have to look at your patterns, what has been happening over a time. For example, like a coach, a team coach, the events, probably you are losing. Now, for you to understand why you're losing, you have to look at the pattern, your pattern, what has been happening before, what pattern has been created in terms of your participation or performance before. And then now you look at the structure, how you've been conducting, maybe your sessions, your matches, your selection, or even the policy, or even some changes in terms of tournaments, organization, the structures that could probably affect or lead to certain outcomes. And then you go down deep, and then you also look at the mindset, because everything that we do depends on our mindset, what we believe in, what the values and the assumptions that we take to be true. So for you to understand what is happening now, if you are losing or winning, you have to go deep, look into your patterns, look at the structures, and then the mental models that are giving you the results that you are experiencing at the moment. Otherwise, you'll keep on doing the same thing, getting the same results, and blaming people or blaming yourself for not giving out the results that you anticipate or you expect. So when you go down, of course, the iceberg, if you all know an iceberg, on the top, it's very small, but deep inside, it's very big. So for you to understand these things, rather the current happenings in your life or in your team, you have to look back. You have to really reflect and try to see whether there are any patterns that are giving you the results that you're experiencing. And if there are also structures that could have changed that are giving you the results that you're experiencing, which could either be negative or positive, or your mindset. Sometimes it's just your mindset. It's not the rules, or it's not how you do things. So if you're able to do that kind of analysis, then you'll merge with a new system of doing things. And of course, if you do things differently, you expect different results. So if you change your mind, if you change your thinking, you'll change your life. Everything is determined by how we think, how we perceive the environment around us, how we interpret the information that we get from the environment. That's what determines how we behave, and that's what determines our results. So we may ask ourselves, what is mental skills training? Why do we want to change our thinking so that our lives can change? So for us to be able to change our thinking, in order to change our life or change our results, we have to look deep into certain skills that we need to develop mentally for us to be able to get the results that we may desire. So, of course, there's a mental training. We have different kinds of training. We were talking about, for this particular topic, we are talking about, we are discussing or focusing on the mental part of it. But of course, the mental part does not come without the physical training. We talked about the three aspects of the human body, or the human in totality. There's a physical part of human, which is a physical training, and then we have the technical training. The technical training are the rules. These are the specific rules or moves that you are required to execute as an athlete or for any particular sport, for you to be able to, perform to the level that you are expected or that is expected. And then there's a tactical training, that is ability to compete and outwit the challenger. As you all know, all this sport has standard rules and standard training, but winning, for you to win, you must come up with a superior strategy, a superior tactic in order to beat the opponent. And then if you combine the physical, technical, and technical training with now the mental and psychological training, then you improve your mind and the ability and your skills to be able to perform. So at this point, if I may ask any of you, what percentage that does your mental play in your performance? What percentage does the mental performance play in terms of achieving your results? Is it 10, 5, 3, or 1%? Is it important to have mental skills training? Anybody? What percentage do you think mental training play in your rather play or has in your performance?
I think it depends with the kind of sports you are doing.
Yeah.
Like in travel, that's the key aspect of performance in travel, because being an endurance sport involving different stages of transition and being tough itself. So if your mental strength is not strong mentally, then you cannot perform. So I'll say the degree of the percentage of or determine the percentage of the type of sports you are doing. There's some sports like soccer, you don't need to be as an individual, you don't need to be so strong mentally as an individual. But for individual sports like now, sports now like taekwondo, again, game like taekwondo, you must be very, very strong mentally, do calculations as the game goes. So to me, I'll say that is very important. Like the percentage depends with the kind of sports we are doing.
Okay. Do we all agree with that, or anyone has a contrary opinion? But it's sports dependent. Yes, Michael.
Yeah, I agree it's sports dependent, but equally in the team sports, the difference between you winning a championship is actually how mentally you are prepared. Because you might have everything, the skills, the whatever, but then if you don't have that mental edge over your opponent, then you always tend to lose that game by that small margin, because the opponent is mentally prepared than you. In terms of the percentage, it is team specific, but it's quite important. So even if it's 1%, even if it's 5%, whatever percentage it is quite critical in determining whether you win or lose. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. So we all agree that it's important. And if we agree that it's important, then we need to include it in our training. We need to also allocate time for it. We shouldn't only concentrate on the physical, the tactical, or the technical aspects of our game. So even if it is a 5-minute chat about the mental strength, among the mental skills that we need as a team or as an individual, for us to be able to compete and win. But as a coach, remember when a few slides ago, just a slide or two before, for you to be able to tell, or rather to understand the psychology of an athlete, you need to understand them. And again, going by the previous talk, Mr. Mark told us that it's important. It's not only during the play at the field or at the court that you talk to your athletes or advise your athletes. It's important that you have time beside the play time to talk to them, and that's the best time to pass certain informations which you have observed before, right? So it's something that we need to incorporate. Yeah, totally. We shouldn't ignore it, because if you look at other teams from the advanced or the first world, a mental coach is part and parcel of the coaching fraternity. Even though here in Kenya, it's something that we're trying to, to adapt, even though we've not done it to the level that is desired or required. But as a coach, it's important that we know that we need to incorporate that in our training. And if we can do more research or do research or discuss on how best we can help or work with our teams, then that small edge, that 1% or 2% will make a difference in your team. We move on. So mental skills training is just preparing the mind to help you perform best at the physical, tactical, and the technical level. There are levels of skills training. We have a pyramid, of course, from the basic as you move up. There's a day-by-day training, what you need on a daily basis to be able to go to workout, to go for a workout, you know, just something to keep you going. Yeah, the motivation. Yeah, like to how to motivate your athletes to play. I mean, to work out or to come for workout sessions. And then the second level is before performance. What do you say? What do you do? What practices do you have? How do you ensure that your athletes are in a better shape to perform just before performance? You know, people suffer from anxiety. Some shake, you know, some cannot concentrate, you know. So as a coach, you need to know how to bring your people or your athletes to a point where they can focus and relax, you know, just before performance so that they can perform. And then, of course, now during the actual performance, during the game, how do you ensure that your athlete does not lose that mental edge to be able to compete, yeah, to be able to focus, yeah, and employ or deploy the tactics that you had discussed earlier. So these are things that we need to dig deep into and understand more. And of course, if we want to perform as a coach, we shouldn't only rely on, you know, the physical or the tactical aspects of our sessions. So the reason why we are pursuing these skills is to enable us have that self-belief that we can do it, or we have that capacity to do it, and to be able to think clearly during and as we said, based on these three levels. Think clearly on the day-to-day, you know, what keeps you going on a day-to-day basis, what keeps you focused before a game, a day to, a month to, a week to, an hour to, a minute to. What are some of the practices, of the mental practices that you employ or put in place to help you have your focus and concentrate on that game? And then having that resilience. Yeah, we are told that your brain is a muscle that needs to be trained. If it is not strong, then it will not last you, or rather it will not serve you the way you would want it to serve you. So it's something that you need to keep on training on, the way you train your muscles to be strong. So our brain also needs that kind of training. Of course, the skills that we require as per particular game. If I may say something like on the level 2, before performance, how many of you did watch Bolt when he wanted to compete? A minute or a few seconds before, when they are lining up for the 100 meters. Anything unique that he used to do that you can remember? Anybody? Yes, Malik? I believe everybody here knows Usain Bolt.
It was like a signature thing. He'll do some signs like raising the hand and putting the sky. You know, those kind of movement, and that is actually a signature thing before we start the race. There's like just like few minutes before the race, they do a lot of those kind of stuff.
So what do you think that signified to him? You know, he must have attached a meaning to that. Not just don't do things.
It was like when it was like he's telling other guys or telling the stadium, I'm the Bolt. I go like lightning. I just go and then I just go and vanish at the end of the line. So it was a means of communicating and also intimidating the other athletes who are lining up there. So it was a kind of communication with them. I'm the king, I'm the Bolt, I'm the lightning. That was the message.
Yes. So before the actual performance, he used to do that. Me, what I make out of that, he used to tell himself, you know, he's talking to himself, not even the stadium, to himself. He was telling himself that he wants to take off like an aeroplane. You see, the sign was pointing up. For an airplane to take off, it has to gain ground speed, and it's not, it's a high speed. So he believed if he took off powerfully, then he would make it to the end and win. Some athletes like listening to the music, some like covering their face just before performance, right? And during the actual performance, some people, they talk to themselves. They say words to themselves to encourage themselves. Yeah, like, John, you can do this, or give me courage, or, people develop different ways of communicating to themselves. You see, we talked about the mind and the spirit. So it means your body is not you. There is a spirit in you. That soul is not you. So sometimes you have to talk to him or talk to her. Tell her that, no, this can't work. This will not happen. You have to win this. And you get that motivation and energy and win the game. Or sometimes you find yourself saying that, something just told me to do this or do that, and I found myself winning. Yeah. Have we experienced such before? Have you ever talked to yourself? Coach Malik, do you talk to yourself?
Definitely I do, of course, many times. Even today, I still do as a coach.
Yeah, you talk to yourself. So you consult your spirit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever you tell yourself matters a lot. If you tell yourself that you are weak, that this match we cannot win, then you will not win. But if you tell yourself and encourage your athletes and tell them this one we have to win, and they keep on saying we have to win, maintain that positive, that positive talk, because it's that self-talk that makes the difference, right? If you are negative, then you get negative results. If you're positive, you get positive results. Yeah. If you believe in yourself, people will believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody will ever believe in you, because whatever is inside is what people will see. Yeah. If you have a lot of self-doubt, people will doubt you. They will not even, they'll not believe what you're trying to tell them. And it applies. Athletes, before they fight, you see the pre-match fights when people go and face off, somebody looking deep into the eyes of the opponent, and then later on, after the match, the post-match interview, you may find somebody saying that I saw in his eyes he was scared, and that gave me the confidence that he's beatable. And of course, somebody goes ahead and wins the match. Yeah. So the categories of training, like we said, on a day-to-day basis, which is level 1, which are people skills. How do you relate to your colleagues? How do you set your goals, like days goal, a week or a month, or even long-term goals? For example, now we are in 2022 and the Olympics are coming in 2024. How do you set your goals to make it to the Olympics? It has to start from a minute to a day, to days, to weeks. Because if you don't get it right at the beginning, then chances of you getting it right at the end is nil. We are told that nobody wins accidentally. You must plan for it, and you have to work for it, and you must employ the right strategy. So you have to motivate yourself. You have to tell yourself, I want to go to the Olympics, but today it's too cold. Oh, I'm feeling so tired. Oh, I'm only here by myself. Yeah, so I can't train. I'll come back tomorrow when everybody else is there. Yeah, and then you see, if you do not motivate yourself and convince yourself that as much as I'm feeling tired, but if I don't work out today, then I will miss my program, or I'll not be able to achieve my program as I've planned. Or as much as it's cold today, it's still important that I work out so that I maintain my program and achieve whatever I want to achieve. Level 2 is a self-confidence, how you talk to yourself. Self-efficacy, meaning that are you able to achieve what you purpose to achieve? Yeah. How do you view yourself in terms of performance, or even as a coach? Even as a coach, if you are beaten, What about the athletes? If yourself you've been beaten, you've feared the opponent, or rather you've given up, and you're telling the athlete, let's go, and you yourself, he or she can see that you're already beaten. Yeah, so that self-imagery, and then the self-talk, what you tell yourself. Whatever you tell yourself inside, people will always see it outside, right? And then, sorry, so the third level is now managing your emotions, concentration and focus, managing anxiety and stress. Somebody asked in the previous presentation on how to behave or how to manage stress before competition. This depends on your beliefs, depends on your self-belief, it depends on how you interpret your environment, it depends on also how you have prepared. You know, if you didn't prepare well, you don't expect to win. Yeah, so you need to learn on what makes us concentrate and focus on what we need to do. You know, there are people who get very distracted by what other people says, including social media, including people in the crowd, in the stadium or in the arena. They get easily distracted by what opponents say, and sometimes opponents do abuse you or look at you badly. And then if that distracts you, then you lose your concentration. And when you lose your concentration, then you are stressed. If you're stressed, you're not able to concentrate, or you're not able to execute your plan as expected. So the ability to remain focused, the ability to manage your emotions during the game, or even before, and even after. Like during the game, a referee makes a bad call, start complaining that, oh, this referee is biased, you know. Or you see, if you concentrate on that and make it, you know, your focus, then you lose concentration in the game. Yeah. Or if you've made mistakes, you've missed a penalty, or you've just made mistakes, several mistakes, or a mistake, and then that mistake now bothers you for the entire game. So you need to find a way. You need to tell your athletes or teach your athletes how to manage crowd, what to think, you know, or rather, or how to block what other people think about them and concentrate in their game. For example, I once read that Kobe Bryant, the late Kobe Bryant, who played for the Lakers, I was once interviewed, and he was asked, how do you manage to perform, yeah, before such a big crowd, people booing at you and making funny, you know, faces, and you know, and he just said, boos do not block dunks. As much as you make noise, that will not block him dunking. Yeah, you see, he managed, you know, he came up with a way of blocking those negative emotions or negative energy. Yeah, so even your team sports or even individual sports, sometimes you feel that the ref is biased. Yeah, how do you handle that? Do you concentrate on that, or do you forget it and move on, concentrate on your next move? And if you've made a mistake, do you punish yourself for that, or take it as a mistake? Mistakes are made, and work it out, compensate, and move on. Anxiety, how do you breathe? What do you tell yourself? Yeah, how do you manage stress? Do you stretch? Do you talk to yourself? Do you rub your hands? Do you how do you think? What emotions do you produce? Yeah, just to help you manage your stress. So those are the skills, and of course, I'm not saying that the examples I've given are the best. You can still go look deep and find more ways or rather more ways or skills that you can build to help you and help your athletes. Because my belief is, if the coach is not well prepared, if the coach is not well trained, if the coach does not understand, then I don't expect the athlete to understand. And that's the reason why we are having this program. Mostly, we do concentrate on empowering the athlete, which is right. But you see, athlete is one person. A coach, for example, if you pick something out of this session today, it will change many people's lives. You can impact more than 50 people or 100 people or even more because of a skill that you've learned today that when you put into practice and changes somebody's life, and that somebody also changes somebody's life, or that somebody's that skill that you imparted in that someone makes their life change to the better. I believe you will be very happy. So some areas where we need to apply the skills that we've learned. Of course, we have situations. We don't take them as problems, but we take them as situations. Before, during, or even after. And sometimes after is even much more worse, because there are people who are not able to manage a loss or a defeat, and it affects them for the rest of their lives. Yeah. So the way you talk to yourself after maybe losing a match, as a coach too, not even as an athlete, as a coach. Yeah. And of course, the athlete will always be looking up to you, how you react, how you behave, how you talk, how you handle loss, how you handle a win. So like turnaround toughness, we'll talk about setbacks that happens to you happens to your athlete, or even happens to you as a coach. Very bad loss. Maybe if you're a football team, you lost 12-0, 13-0. That would be the talk of the town, and it will hurt you as a coach. So how do you come back? How do you manage that? How do you turn around and get to do the better version of yourself? Yeah. Sometimes as a coach, you've lost a critical member of the team, and that was your key person, or rather your key player, and you've lost them out of injury or any sort of an emergency, and you have a serious match before you. So as a coach, how you handle that will determine how the team will perform. Then the critical moment is you need to make a decision very fast. You need to make a decision very fast. You are under pressure. Yeah. And the skill that you require to make a decision very fast in a situation where you are under pressure is how well you can compose yourself. Yeah. There are people who, when they are disturbed or distracted, they start shaking and they're not able to think clearly. And if you're not able to think clearly, and yet you're the leader of the team, then you will take the entire team the wrong direction. So you have to, as a coach, you need to develop that kind of toughness, that mental toughness in a critical moment where you are under pressure. It's like, for example, you want to substitute, or in a boxing match, your athlete is being beaten badly, and then you have to think whether to throw in the towel or not, because you can also be blamed for having thrown the towel earlier than expected. Yeah. So as a coach, you have to be on your toes during times of pressure, and of course, for you to be able to handle such pressures, it's you to understand the game. It's you to understand, of course, practice and practice and be able to handle such situations before they arise. Anticipate. Then, of course, the endurance toughness. You guys talked about specific sports like triathlon, where you need endurance toughness. You have to learn. You have to practice. Yeah. You have to you have to to know how to manage pain, how to block pain, and how to keep your body working. Yeah. And of course, we talked about the mind, the soul, and the spirit. You know, when the three are not connected, when the soul is telling the body that you're tired, you cannot go on. Yeah. And then you just feel tired. Your body, your brain gives your body instructions, and then whatever instructions your body receives, that's what it does. Yeah. But you see, you start from the thought. If you think that I can't make it, the body will not make it. You can't force it. It gets instructions from the brain, brings it to the heart or to the soul, and then now that instruction is passed on to the body, and that's what exactly the body will do. And then the last one here is in terms of toughness, the ability to make tough decisions and take the risky option in order to maximize performance gains rather than playing safe and hence missing out on opportunities for significant success. I don't know what best example I can give here, but what that says is sometimes you take a risk, and that risk, if you make it, it will make the bigger difference. Yeah. For example, maybe I can use a team sport, which has strikers and defenders or midfielders. You take a defender to be a striker, or you take a striker to be a goalkeeper when your goalkeeper is not in a position. So you see, that's a very big gamble. Yeah, going to play a defender as a striker, as your only option, or as the best option that you can think of. Maybe you have analyzed the personality of the defenders on the other side, and you vis-a-vis the personality of your defender, and you've seen that this is the only person that can match the personality of the other defender. You know, there are people who just see some people and they get scared. Yeah. And they give in. So if you have that advantage, you use that person to scare the opponent, and then you get advantage. You take advantage of the situation and win. But again, before we go there, as a coach, we are told to really concentrate on the process, not on the winning, because if you concentrate all the time on winning by all costs, you are not developing that athlete. Yeah, we've been reminded and told that we are not training the sport, we are training a human being. And the reason why you train a human being is to develop that human being to be the best version of themselves. And if they are the best versions of themselves, then they'll be able to endure all these critical moments and toughness and endurance, because they'll be able to think clearly, they'll be able to focus and execute their moves or execute their plan as advised. So somebody also asked, how do you motivate your athletes? How do you appreciate your athletes? Sometimes it's just the process. Appreciate the process. Yeah. Do not castigate an athlete because they have lost. As much as they've tried their best, they've done it the best way they could. You know, sometimes talk about personal best. What did you do new? Yeah. What made you happy about, you lost, yes, but there must be something that you did that made you happy. And, so if they did something that made them happy, and it's a good thing to do, encourage them to do that more and more. Yeah. Maybe it was a boxing match. There's a shot that you landed that made you so happy. Yeah. And, so that's something that you stick to the good things, not the bad things. Yeah. Take the good, be positive in your thinking. Don't be negative in your thinking. Look for the good out of the entire bad, and you will be motivated. So a few thoughts on how to train your mindset. Of course, as a human being, we have our cognitive side and the psychological part. The cognitive side is our senses, how we perceive our environment, and the psychological part is now our mind. So we have both to help us build our mindset. Visualization is one of them. How do you see yourself? How do you look at yourself? How do you see yourself performing as a coach, or how do you foresee your athletes perform as athletes? You see, if you see it negatively, if you visualize a negative outcome, then definitely, and chances of getting a negative outcome is 95% out of 100. So that visualization, being able to see yourself doing the right thing at the right time, before, during, and after the game, will help you build a strong mindset. Yeah. If you see yourself positively, people will see you positively, and you'll have a positive feeling, and you will deliver a positive result. The second one is a self-talk. How do you handle your thoughts, negative or positive? You will always think things. People in your head will always tell you stuff, negative stuff. As a country, we are not good in weightlifting, or we are not good in running, we are not good in triathlon. So I'll just lose. Yeah. So if you entertain such kind of thoughts, those self-talk, then definitely your results will be negative. So tell yourself positive things. Look for the things that you've done good, things that you've succeeded in, things that people like about you, your positive side. That's what you highlight. The negative sides dismiss. Yeah. Tell yourself, I can do it. I'm strong. Yeah. I'm strong. I can do it. I have a superior technical capability than my opponent. Yeah? And this starts even in the warm-up room. You look at your opponent, you say negative things to yourself, the results becomes negative. So train your people to visualize positively, talk positively, have beliefs which are positive. Yeah, beliefs which are positive. Because if you believe wrongly, of course, people have different realities, and of course, your reality, your beliefs becomes your reality, and that's what now makes your personality, or determines the results that you get. So if you're getting wrong results, if the results that you're achieving now are not positive or are not worthy your take, then you have to look at your beliefs. You have to go back and find out, why are you getting negative results? Do you believe in the right things, or do you believe, do you do the right things? And of course, whatever you do depends on your beliefs, your thoughts. Thoughts leads to feelings, and feelings leads to actions. Yeah, and action leads to results, and results becomes behavior. The behavior now comes your reality. Yeah. So you look at your beliefs, your belief system. If it is right, then you'll move to you will be positive. But if it is negative or wrong, some people just believe on things that do not work, and that's their reality. But again, that's the way human being is. That's why we have different religions. People believe in different things. So whatever works for you, that's what you need to stick to. Don't change your belief because I tell you that I do ABCD. Yeah. So whatever works for you, the beliefs that works for you, stick to them. If they're positive, if they're giving you positive results, stick to them. But if they are not, you have to relook into them and find a better way of handling your mind. We've heard of meditation before. I don't know whether there's anyone in this group that practices meditation. Do you have anybody in this group that practices meditation? Or who has ever tried meditation, or who is trying meditation?
I do, Ogolla.
You do.
Yes,
How,
I do.
how often do you do that?
Every day.
Okay, that's nice. Do
Every
you
day,
teach?
every now and then.
That's nice.
Pardon?
I'm saying that's nice. You teach your athletes to meditate.
I haven't thought about them. It's something that I do myself, but I haven't thought to teach the other person. But as far as I've learned the things that we've been talking about, then I think it's something very important. Then I will get to start to teach the athletes from now on.
What benefits do you derive from meditation? As a person, what makes you feel happy about it?
What I've actually realized since I've started, it actually brings my inner person in whatever sphere of something that I'm looking to achieve in life. It actually helps you also to see a bigger picture in terms of me, in terms of looking forward to the next day. That's basically how I do it. Because for me, I wasn't doing it for sports. I was doing it for religious things. So it actually ignites my. I heard you speaking about the mind, the body, and the spirit. So it actually ignites my spirit to connect with my inner being. Then I keep pushing whatever that I want to do.
Yeah, meditation is all about linking your body and your spirit. Some people use it for healing themselves, manifesting, getting into the spiritual realm. Yeah, and being able to connect to their God.
Yes.
Yeah, and, what we need to know, it calms your mind. Anybody who has a mind that is not collected cannot think right. So for you to be able to think right, you must calm down your mind. And the only way to calm down your mind is to practice meditation. Understand yourself, understand your body, and connect to God. We all know about can I use the word magicians, people who practice magic. People who practice magic, I think it's that ability to be able to connect to the spiritual world. That's what makes them different from us. So even us, if you want to connect to our God, now it depends on what you connect to, the spiritual world. If you want to connect to your God to give you that power or strength or that courage and belief and the positivity that you require to do anything that you want to do, that self-belief, you have to meditate and try and connect to your God. And teach your athletes to try and do that. You've seen maybe athletes in the NBA. There's a lot of crowd, people are making noise, but somebody's just seated quiet and still, maybe covered his head with a towel, just trying to maintain their focus, recollect themselves. Yeah. So it's blocking out everything and leaving your mind, just breathing, letting your mind free of any thought. Yeah, just together. Right. I think we have to move on. So there is this picture here, managing emotions. Oh, sorry. Managing emotions. Emotions are generated by our thoughts. So whatever we think will create feeling, and that feeling will activate, and that action, either positive or negative. So, and those emotions can either build us or break us. like emotion of anger. If you are angry, you react. Before you know it, you do something wrong. Like, for example, in our setup, in a sports setup, a referee has made a bad call against you, and you become angry and you go hit the referee or abuse the referee. Then the referee punishes you more, and now you are now you are 2 steps down, or you are more harmed than before. So for us to be able to control our emotions, this thing they call emotional intelligence. Yeah. So our brain has 3 parts: logic center, the emotional center, which is the limbic system, where our feelings are generated, and then now the spinal cord that transports all the that transmits all the information to the brain, which is called the cerebellum. So when you encounter anything, when you perceive anything, whether it's through smell, through touch, through hearing, the information is sent to the brain. And before it goes to the logic center, you can see the arrow up. There is that center, the limbic system, where you feel. So if that information passes the limbic system, or that limbic center, if it passes and goes to the logic center, or if you act on an information before it goes to the logic center, then you might regret that action. But if you let it go to the logic center, where you now think rationally and then behave appropriately, then you'll be able to behave or act. Let me mute you. So what I'm saying is, when you receive stimulus from the environment and you react before it goes to your logic center, then most of the time you'll make a wrong decision. For example, somebody has angered you, but before you think twice, you've hit them. But sometimes the anger, that person was not intentional in terms of wasn't intentional, did not have the intention to anger you. So emotional intelligence is that aspect of being able to think logically before you react. But if you do not think before you react, then most definitely you're going to make a mistake. So let's pause when something happens, when you hear something, when you feel something, pause and think. Don't act based on your emotions. Act based on the logic. So like we were talking about athlete during a performance, or a coach during a performance. Even coaches are given red card or they misbehave during the games or during the matches. Sometimes you feel that referee or the technical official is against your athlete, and then you create a scene or use bad language, or and then you are penalized for it. Now you've been penalized. Sometimes you're asked to leave that technical area. You leave sitting by the ringside or by the field of play to go stay or sit with the crowds on the other side. Now you have disadvantaged your athletes more than before. So if the athlete lose, who will be blamed? Is it you or the athlete? because you did not think or act rationally. So as a coach, we need to develop that emotional intelligence, the ability to be able to process information before we act. We shouldn't act just based on emotions. So that's the meaning of managing our emotions. It could be bad, yes, but the decision could be bad, yes, but if you react, is it going to add value or make it more worse? So we need to think about that and try and always moderate our emotions before we act. So another thing, the next theory that you're talking about is the theory of efficacy. Efficacy is the belief that you're capable of achieving a specific goal or performing a particular task based on your ability. Like you are a coach, are you able to coach at the Olympic level, at the Commonwealth level, at the World Championship level, at the school level, at the league level? Do you believe that you can do it? Because if you don't believe in yourself, then there's no way you're going to perform. And of course, these are task specific. It's based on your experience, yeah, your social persuasion, your psychological makeup. Because out of your belief, your action will be determined based on your belief. So if you don't believe in yourself, or if you do not have confidence that you're able to perform a particular task, and most definitely you will not achieve, or rather you'll not perform that task, because you'll be doubting yourself. Or the athlete will be doubting you. You tell them things that are not really making sense to them. So if you have a higher self-efficacy, your chances of succeeding are high. If you have a low self-efficacy, then your chances of succeeding are very low. So we have goal setting and achievement. Oops, sorry. As our last slide, we have a goal to achieve. For example, we want to go to the Olympics. That's our goal. Then after setting that goal, or rather after having that vision, now we come down and formulate a strategy. How are we going to get to the Olympics? How many people, or who am I supposed to beat or to defeat, or what skills do I need to have for me to be able to make it? Or what championships do I need to attend, and at what level? And what tactics do I need to put in place for me to be able to achieve my vision or my goal? So that is a system that you put in place. How many trainings, what coach, what athletes, what tournaments, support that you need to be able to achieve your goal. Below that, for you to execute the strategies, the tactics, or for your process to run very well, you must have values. You must decide on values that will determine your behavior and habits that will enable you to execute that strategy. For example, value of cheating, values of hard work, values of mixing with people who do not add value to your life. Yeah, your behaviors, your habits, like sleeping late, getting late for workouts, not being a team player, yeah, being rough, unnecessarily being rough, yeah. And then our behaviors or values are also determined by our attitudes and beliefs. If we have bad attitude, we look at things, everything in a negative perspective or in a negative manner, everybody's against us, God is against me, I'm not good enough, me, I can't make it. See, that determines your behavior and determines your habits, which gives you the results. And if you have negative results, you will not attain your goal. Yeah. So when you set these goals and the strategy and the values, mostly when you set your goal, ask yourself why. Why do I want to do this? What meaning does it? What meaning do I attach to it? Why is it important to me to have this attitude or these beliefs? Yeah. Or why is it important for me to behave in a certain manner or have certain habits? Why is it important for me to have a system or a plan? If you determine, or if you're able to say or tell why you have that, why it's important for you, then you will achieve your goal. But if you do not really understand why you are doing what you are doing, or why you are doing what you are doing, then it becomes very difficult. You miss the personal coherence and alignment. That's where now we talk about the body, the mind, and the soul. The three must work in tandem. The three must agree. Yeah, for you to be able to get the positive results that you need as a coach or even as an athlete. So this is our last slide. Mostly this presentation was revolving about the mindset, and the mindset, we've been told, it entails the three parts of the human being: the body, the soul, and the spirit. So unless and until we work on that to have an alignment, yeah, with ourselves, with our spirits, with our soul, and with our body, because your mind cannot be thinking negative and your body thinking positive. It's your mind that directs your body. Yeah. So unless and until we have that coherence, that alignment, even in just normal life, then it's difficult to get the results that we desire in life. I think that ends my presentation, and I'm willing to take any questions or discussions, learn from each other, and then we can end up there. And again, let me say that the person who was to take us through this part is a professor in Botswana. He got an emergency, so he was not able to present today, but he still has his presentation. We will hook up with him at a later date, and we'll call you, or rather notify you when and the time of the webinar. So if there are any questions or any additions or any subtractions that we can discuss as a team, I'd really appreciate it.
Okay, John.
Yes.
John.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. I would like to ask a question related to, I heard you talking about helping athletes to be in a position where they can be able to relate from their spirit to connect with their body before performance.
Mm.
How often is this exercise should be taught to the athletes so that by the time they compete, at least they have mastered it? Is it something that has to do with competitions only, or should it be an exercise that we should try and do it as early as possible, or what do you say?
I remember when we started this conversation, we talked about the percentage of what mental strength plays in our performance. And again, we did use an analogy that our brains are also like a muscle that needs to be trained every day for it to gain the strength that we need. So this is a practice that has to be done. If it is important to us, we have to do it. We have to give it time also. Like every day you have to do something. Every day you have to practice and master, because you cannot change your mind in a day. It's an habit. It's a habit that you have to develop for you to change your mindset. So if you ask me, at least every day they should try it out before practicing, when practicing, or even a day before going for practice. You should be able to meditate about your practice, visualize how you're going to practice, anticipate what could happen, the three scenarios that could happen. And when it happens, already your mind is prepared for it. You know, it's funny the way human beings, or rather the way human mind works. You know, when you wake up, Robohile, you don't ask your body what to do. There's a pattern that it has established. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you laugh, the way it is a pattern that it has already established. You don't think of how you taking food to your mouth. So your body gets adapt to that mindset. It's programmed based on your subconscious. You do it subconsciously. So the conscious is the logic mind, and then the subconscious is where the program is. It's whatever you drop in there, whatever habit, whatever you repeat doing, that's what it takes to be the truth.
That's very true.
I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did, and I'm very grateful to be part of this presentation. It has actually empowered me as a person and also empowered me as a coach. And I want to believe if we could have such presentations maybe as often as possible to empower us as coaches, it will be something that could actually help us as coaches to be well developed, especially in critical thinking when things happen, basically in competitions or in training. Because I had it relates to training based in training and competition and after competition. And you would find it some of the things we just neglect them. And we tend to not to support the athletes by the time they need the support, because we would always think that they have sabotaged us with the performance that they made. So I'm actually honored to be part of this presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. We'll strive to have as many as we can. Invite experts to talk to us, of course, cognizant of the challenge that we have in Africa. We do not really have a lot of coaching, institutes or colleges. And of course, the few that are there are very expensive that we cannot all afford to attend. So if we could be having such small talks here and there as we build on our coaching careers and as we help our athletes, together with those who are willing to help us, like the guy who just presented. We've not paid him anything. Just asked him through our networks, just asked him if he could present to us on how we can work with persons living or athletes living with disabilities, because we meet them, we have them. But if you do not really understand how to relate with them, then it can become a challenge. And yet some of them have, are very talented and are very skilled. And as a coach, if you know how to work with them, or as a person, then you can change their lives. You can build them as a person before you build them in terms of sports. So we will always try and have people talk to us on various topics. And if you have somebody in mind whom you think can volunteer to share their knowledge and experience, we will be glad to contact them and bring them into the group. Any other concern or question? Yes, John.
I have a question on self-talk.
Yes.
So as you have said, it aids elite athletes to overcome anxiety. So some of athletes, maybe they have never done any positive self-talk, or maybe it's the first time they're hearing it. So do you suggest that coaches should take that responsibility of helping athletes to develop these positive phrases that they can use as their self-talk during championships? Or is this something they can do by themselves? Maybe they might not even be able to come up with relevant phrases which can act as a positive self-talk.
This does not just apply to athletes. You know, this is just general human development or empowerment. Even you yourself, don't you talk to yourself? You
Yeah,
do talk to yourself, but sometimes you do not know why or when you should talk to yourself. Self-talk is just a way of trying to block negative thoughts that will influence your behavior or influence your system to behave, you know, get stressed or make you not focus in whatever you need to focus on. But so, yes, it's important for the coach to tell the athletes that you need to tell yourself that you're strong. Yeah, when you face a challenge, you need to remind yourself that you are strong. And you need to tell that athlete that you are strong. You know you are strong. Yeah? And you have to be reminding yourself that you're strong. Yeah, or an area that you are strong in. Yeah, or I'm courageous. Mimi siogopangi, like would say, me, I don't fear. Yeah, if a negative thought comes in, crops in, you say, no, me, I don't fear. I'll go and take the person on, or I'll go and compete the way I'm supposed to compete. Yeah, but people have different ways of convincing themselves. Some people would love or like to call the names of their grandfather or grandmother, that me, son, or their father, me, son of so-and-so, you cannot defeat me. Yeah, so just remind yourself something positive that makes you get into the moment. Yeah, that makes you get into the moment. You block the negative thoughts that may distract you, and will always distract you. Everybody has those self-doubt sometimes, or destructive thoughts. Mr. Bernard wanted to say something. I hope that I answered your question, Stephen.
You did, actually.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks. I wanted to, first of all, appreciate organizing this level of consortium. I'll call it a consortium because I can see people from various different parts of the world, UK, some probably Botswana, from the Western majority Kenyans. I can see athletes and some familiar faces here, coaches of high caliber as well. Personally, I would give, first of all, just an opinion from the perspective of coaching, being a coach. From the perspective of a sports psychologist, I like how you summarized everything. And by putting a brain to this, by introducing the soul, the spirit, and the body, by discussing the self-belief and the self-talk. And I like the first presenter who spoke about those who are able differently. And when you say, how do you believe in yourself? You may find as somebody who is a stammerer talking to you and coming, for example, a lady will say, I don't have confidence talking to people because I'm a stammerer. But if you ask this person, do you stammer when you're talking to yourself silently? They will tell you no. And the Bible speaks about this. Fear. Fear is the biggest impediment to progress. Be it acquisition of success or anything in sports. And then you touched the area of physiology, because I'm a scientist and I'm in Budapest at the moment studying about science. Coaching is so nice and laden with a lot of scientific applications. And if there's a huge correlation, for example, if you find the way our body moves, regardless of which sport you're doing, where the signals are being sent from your brain through the motor neurons along the central nervous system, the number of synapses. Then goes like electric circuit, then changes into chemical reactions, and then movement occurs. There's a lot of resentment, a lot of settlement of the brain. And thoughts plays a major role here. How do you train your mind? How do you train your muscles? I'll give, for example, in the body, we have several muscles, the skeletal muscle that we warm attached to our bones. We have the cardiac muscle, the way our heart is working endlessly till we die. And then we have the smooth muscles, and these involve the stomach, the intestines, and the brain. You may not train them, but relatively you might train them in a way by experiencing yourself with several environmental experiences to condition your body to be a good sports person. So a lot of fear, a lot of disability is perceived and can be overcome. The perspective of sports as inclusivity, as to get people together, has with a lot of challenges and biases. People may pick these biases and dwell on them so much and leave the good and the beautiful opportunities to pick it up. So coaching, to me, people may say coaching is science, but I tend to argue with them and say coaching is an art. An art is how do you plan yourself well? How do you talk to them well? So it's more of a gift. It's more of a calling, like being a nurse. You may be the very best of a doctor, but when you don't have passion in it, I don't think the practice will look very well, just like coaching. So as an artistical obligation that you pick out of a passion, if we love the sports, if we love the person, and I like this sentiment that we are training the person, you are not training the sports, then continuity, longevity, and fun that comes in the sport will not be lost. So coaching is an art, coaching is fun, and I like the knowledge-based. I like the article that you ran through. It is so huge. At some point I was saying, oh, wow, we're in a real class. So thank you very much for inviting me, however late it was. I had to miss a class just to attend this one. So much appreciated, Mr. Ogolla.
Welcome. Welcome. Thank you for your very wise, scientific and encouraging words. I believe everyone in this forum has understood you and has gotten the lessons that we had espoused to give out today. And you're going to take them back to your clubs, to your teams, and to you yourself as a person. It starts with you. If you don't understand the concept, there's no way you're going to impart it. Impart it to the athlete. So, Bernard, you being at the moment, you are a coach already and you are enhancing your skills in Budapest. I will always strive to think about you on time. You see, we had a forum for this during the Commonwealth Games. That's why maybe I called some people late, but I intend to probably come up with another group where we can include everyone, so that when an invite goes out, it goes out to everyone at the same time. But again, anybody who has any information or any insight that would like us to share as a group, you are welcomed. I will strive to organize more of this with different instructors, at least if we could, every 2 weeks or every 1 month. And I believe we'll gain out of it. I'm not saying that I'm the best in this, no. I just also have a passion for the Kenyan coaches. Just want to give them a forum where they can learn and enhance their skills, so that our country and our continent, because as you've said, we have people from Botswana here. We have someone from Botswana. We have someone from Lesotho. We had someone from Cameroon, and of course, the instructor from UK. Most of us here are Kenyan coaches, but we want to expand and share as Africa, because whatever challenges we face are more or less similar. Yeah, and because when we go out there and face like in the international competitions, the Commonwealth, the Olympics, the World Championships, when we go out there, we find ourselves very inferior in terms of our execution of our tactics or our approach to the game. Yeah, but if we share the little that we each know, or the little that we can all afford to bring on the table, I think we can get better and better as we strive to look for maybe, you know, more advanced or more organized courses. But we can start with little talks like this. And I encourage you, if you have anyone whom you think can share with us, please just let me know. I'll reach out to them and organize for a seminar like this or a webinar like this, so that we can all enjoy. Otherwise, also appreciate, have to thank you for your time. Yeah, I know we had we had planned for 2 hours. We are like 3 hours and 3.5 hours, and you've all stuck in the webinar, not leaving. I believe it's not because of the content, but because of the quest for knowledge. Yeah? Not because of me, but because of the quest for knowledge that you all want to get. Otherwise, I wouldn't want to keep you here any longer. But again, thank you and appreciate your participation, whatever little that you've shared, and your presence is very much appreciated. Otherwise, thank you so much. And before we close, if there's anything or anyone with anything that is so burning that they would want to share, you can do so. All right, if there is none, let me bring this meeting to an end. And again, thank you so much, and have a blessed evening.